Welcome back to Legion Builds, where I show you how to bring your favorite characters into Dungeons & Dragons. Today we are heading back into the Entity's realm to bring the Trickster into D&D. Born Ji Woon Hak, the Trickster is a former musical superstar turned serial killer. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. Read his backstory, it's really good but very messed up, like every other character in Dead by Daylight. Today's goals are to create a showstopper, an expert knife thrower who's capable of barraging his prey with a flurry of blades. If you don't know anything about Dead by Daylight, the Trickster's power is Showstopper, where he literally throws knives at people. Next, we need to make you above all suspicion. You went months killing anyone you wanted before they even got close to finding you, and even then you were able to throw them off your trail. Finally, what are you without your prized weapon, the Head Smasher? Part bat, part blade, brass knuckle grip that you just twirl around like a baton when you're beating people. We're using standard point array. Well, if you want to. We are multi-classing, but they use the same stats. We're going to start things off with Charisma at 15. You were the ultimate performer before you became the ultimate liar. Dex will be next at 14. With your knives in hand, you are terrifying. Trust me on that. If you know the Trickster has main event charge, he's behind you, you have no cover in front of you, you're done. Wisdom will be next with 13. Your No Way Out perk allows you to hear when survivors are about to escape, so we need to give you some pretty good hearing. Con will follow at 12. Can't be a superstar if you're not in great shape. Strength will be low at 10, and we're going to have to dump intelligence because neither are really important. The Trickster is a human. You didn't make a deal with the Entity like the Nurse or Wraith. You weren't forced into it like the Trapper, and you weren't tricked like the Hillbilly or Huntress. You do this because you want to. Variant Human grants you a free feat with your stat improvements. Place +1 into Dex and Charisma. Piercer adds +1 to Dex. Once per turn, when you cause damage with a piercing weapon, you can re-roll 1 damage dice, and when you score a critical hit with a piercing weapon, you can deal 1 additional damage dice. For your free skill, take Performance since it was your previous career before becoming a serial killer. For background, we just need Deception and Intimidation. We're going to start things off with one of the best killer classes in D&D, Ranger. I know Rangers get a bad rap, but it's a class that adds damage incredibly well and complements almost every other class in the game. For your skills, take Stealth, Perception, and Athletics. Level 1 Rangers start things off with Favored Foe. Now after hitting an enemy, you can mark them as your favored foe. This lets you add 1d4 of damage with each hit you do. This lasts for 1 minute and must be maintained, and you can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Deft Explorer will grant you multiple features as you level up, starting with Canny. You can now double your proficiency bonus with 1 skill. For your skills that you have, Stealth, Deception, and Performance would work great for the Trickster. Myself, I suggest Perception to help track people down. Level 2 Rangers gain a fighting style. Thrown weapon fighting adds +2 damage for thrown weapons, like knives. It also lets you draw and throw a knife in a single action. You're also a spell caster. Start things off with 2 spells. Longstrider adds 10 feet to your total movement, so survivors can outrun you for 1 hour. Hunter's Mark lets you mark a target with a bonus action for 1 hour, dealing an extra 1d6 of damage on a hit, and gives you advantage on survival and perception checks to find the marked person. Now sadly, you can't stack Favored Foe or Hunter's Mark as they're both concentrations, but don't worry, we're going to give you even more damage boosts. Level 3 Rangers receive Primeval Awareness. You can now expend 1 Ranger spell slot to know if there are any special creatures within 1 mile of you, such as aberrations, celestial dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. Kind of works for you. It does not help you do this with humans though, so sorry. You also get your subclass, and it's time to take the killer subclass, Hunter. Hunter's Prey lets you choose a feature when you gain this ability. For you, I would suggest Colossus Slayer. This lets you add 1d8 extra damage once per turn if they are below full health. For your new spell, Zephyr Strike is a bonus action that lasts for 1 minute while you maintain it. During the minute, you do not provoke attacks of opportunities, and you have advantage on 1 weapon attack that will deal an extra 1d8 of damage. Once you take the attack, you gain 30 feet to your total movement until the end of your turn. Now this is concentration, so you can't stack it with favored foe or hunter's mark, but because it does increase your movement and give you a bonus damage on one attack, you can just activate it and then deactivate it to restart one of these. Level 4 Rangers gain our first ability score improvement. Bump up Dex to an 18 for better knife throwing, damage, and AC. Level 5 Rangers now have extra attack. You can now attack twice with a single action, meaning you can throw up to 3 blades in a single turn. You also get second level spells. For your new spell, take what you want. We don't really need a lot of spells for this build, and we won't be getting the ones we really need till later. So go ahead and choose. You have great spells like Pass Without a Trace to add plus 10 to your total stealth, or Cure Wounds to heal 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier of health. Now it's time to start improving your knife abilities. Level 1 monks gain unarmored defense. You can now add your wisdom to your AC when you're not wearing armor, which is good because you don't even wear a shirt. This makes your AC 15, but we'll improve it later. Martial arts improves your combat when you're not wearing armor. Your unarmed strikes and all simple weapons can now be dex based and use martial arts dice, which are going to start with a D4, which is basically the same as a dagger. You can also make a bonus action unarmed strike if you're not holding a weapon in your offhand. Level 2 monks receive Ki. These are points that equal your monk level that you can spend to perform special abilities. Flurry of Blows lets you spend 1 point to make 2 unarmed strikes with a bonus action. Step of the Wind lets you spend 1 point to make dash and disengage a bonus action and double your jump distance. Patient Defense lets you spend a point to make dodge a bonus action. Unarmored Movement adds more movement when you are not wearing armor. Your total speed right now is 40 feet without Longstrider. Dedicated Weapon turns one weapon you are proficient with into a monk weapon, like an axe. Congratulations! Head Smasher is now a dex-based weapon. Level 3 monks can now deflect missiles. You can now reduce damage from projectiles as a reaction by 1d10 plus your dex modifier plus monk level. If you have an empty hand and reduce the damage to 0, you can catch it and throw it back. Now it's time to really improve your knives with a subclass. Kensai monks are weapon specialists. Path of the Kensai lets you choose 2 weapons, 1 melee and 1 ranged, and turn them into monk weapons that will receive special benefits as you level up. For your melee, just choose your knives. We'll add Head Smasher a little later. Agile Parry turns your Kensai weapon into a defensive weapon. By choosing not to attack with it, you can add +2 to your AC and still attack with your unarmed strike. Kensai Shot lets you use a bonus action to add 1d4 of damage to a ranged attack. Level 4 monks gain Slow Fall. This lets you reduce falling damage by 5 times your monk level. You also receive another ability score improvement. Go ahead and place this into Wisdom for an AC of 16. Level 5 monks receive Stunning Strike. You can now stun your enemies when you hit them with a melee attack by burning 1 key point and forcing a con save. Should they fail, they are stunned till the end of your next turn. Focus Aim lets you increase a missed attack roll by burning up to 3 key points, adding +2 to each point. Your martial arts are now a D6, which means your daggers now get upgraded to a D6. Level 6 monks now have Ki empowered strikes. Your unarmored attacks are now magical. Kensai monks get 1 with a blade, which makes all your Kensai weapons magical. You also get a new Kensai weapon, add Head Smasher. Death Strike lets you spend a key point to add another martial arts dice to your weapons. So right now your daggers are magical, dealing a d6 of damage plus all the bonus damage you get to add on. Finally, your unarmored movement is now 45 feet without using Longstrider or Zephyr Strike. Level 6 Rangers have their favored foe improved to a D6. You also have a new feature from Deft Explorer, Roving. You gain a swimming and climbing speed equal to your walking speed, which is also increased by 5 feet. This brings your total movement to 50, 60 with Longstrider, 120 with Step of the Wind. Level 7 Hunter Rangers receive Defensive Tactics, which grants you the feature Escape the Horde, which makes attacks of opportunity against you at disadvantage. You also gain a new spell, and once more, Go Wild. We're not there yet. Level 8 Rangers gain another ability score improvement, Cap Off Dex for an AC of 17, and your knives are now attacking at a +10 and damaging at a +7. You also get an ability called Land Stride, but it's not important for this build, so you can read about it yourself. Level 9 Rangers can now have 3rd level spells, and we finally get the spell we want. It's time for the main event. Conjure Barrage creates a 60-foot cone when you throw one of your knives. Everyone in the cone must make a dex save, as the knife you throw becomes a hail of knives, taking 3d8 damage on a failed save. Level 7 monks receive evasion. You can now take no damage on passing a dex save and only half damage on a failure. Stillness of mind lets you end one effect on yourself that makes you charmed or frightened. Level 8 monks get another ability score improvement. Bump up your wisdom for an AC of 18 and a passive perception of 26. Level 10 Rangers gain their final feature from Deft Explorer, Tireless. You can now give yourself temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You can also reduce your exhaustion by 1 level with a short rest. Nature's Veil lets you turn yourself invisible for 1 turn with a bonus action, and you can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. Not you, but it's good. Level 11 Hunter Rangers receive multi-attack. This gives you the feature Volley. When you have multiple targets within range of your knives, you can make a single attack against every target as long as you have ammunition for it. This means all enemies in 20 feet can get their own personal throwing knife from you. You are a generous celebrity. You also gain your final Ranger spell and take what you want, I don't care. Our final level is level 12 Rangers, and you get your final ability score improvement. Place this into Charisma because, well, you're a devious little bastard. Time to look at this build. Your knives are deadly. They are dealing 1d6 of damage, magical, have a range of 20 feet, you can throw 3 normally, add more damage multiple ways, can re-roll misses, and you can unleash a barrage in one direction or a volley at multiple targets. You also can never lose your fans. Your passive perception is 26, you have advantage on tracking. Your base movement is 50 feet, and you can add up to 30 feet on that. And dash is a bonus action. Finally, you have a pretty good AC of 18 or 20 with Agile Parry. Downside, you have limited resources with 8 key points and 10 spell slots, but that's basically it. You have very little concentration spells unless you add some yourself with the extra 3 spells I didn't give you. Decent saves, your wisdom could be better, and your charisma doesn't really do anything. I'm not power building here. This is literally to create the character from the video game. The Trickster is a very charismatic person along with his dexterity-based abilities. But all around, this build is not bad. Chase down your prey, harass them with your knives the whole time, then introduce them to Head Smasher. If you like Dead by Daylight and want to add more characters to D&D, check out my Huntress, Wraith, and Nurse builds, or dive into my horror playlist. Remember to like and subscribe to never miss a new build.